All right, so from Madison Square Garden, the theater in New York, the main event, we had Xander Zayas versus Jorge Garcia. This was the 154-pound vacant WBO title. And this was a fun fight to watch. Garcia was coming off of a huge upset win over the highly ranked number one contender at the time, Charles Conwell, which the win propelled him to set up this opportunity for the title match. And Zayas, now is the youngest world champion in boxing, but only at 22 years of age, but just a very steady, consistent, solid fighter who is well-rounded. And he had a good test in Garcia, a long, tough, strong guy who's very even awkward and unorthodox at times. I was impressed by Zayas, his ability to answer those questions, to handle the pressure, and to come out victorious and now the world champion. What'd you make of this fight? And what do you think of Zayas with all these other champions, especially the one he keeps talking about, Fondora, next?
Very interesting fight because that Fondora did get 30% better, as I always say, as a world champion. Uh, I know some people took a shot at me. Someone said, "Oh, Dubois didn't look like he got 30% better." Hey, fellas, Dubois actually got better before this fight. If you forget, he was an IBF champion. I guess you forgot that. He got better, and it served him for the Hrgovic fight. It served him for the Miller fight. It served him for the Joshua fight. So he did. So I would kind of argue back at you and say that my beliefs and what I've said, and the old timers' beliefs, Costamato and the old timers, that guys win a title, they get 30% better. I would say even with Dubois, it was also shown. Maybe not in the obviously with Usyk, but it was shown before that. But it definitely was shown with Fondora. And Fondora is so confident now. First of all, that size, and he's learning how to use it a little better. He still gets hit, which scares the crap out of me. Fondora standing tall when he lets the shorter guys get into their punching distance. He'll stand and he'll make himself such a target, such an erect target. And what scares the crap out of me is he gets hit he showed a great chin. He gets hit with that big left hook, that big right hand against Zoo. But then he don't move his head after it. He's there to get hit his second one. That's where the real trouble is going to be. That's where his people have to correct that. I always teach a fighter, you get hit one, move your head right away so you don't get hit two in a row. Because usually the real good fighters can, if they see the punch, they have a good chance of surviving sometimes one shot. But it's the two and the three. That's hard to survive. That's hard to survive. And if you look at the great fighters, whether it's the Sugar Ray Leonards or the Durans, or at their heyday, and of course you could go back further, but I don't want my buddy. I know my buddy out there that wants me to talk about the 1700s. I can't satisfy you every day. I'm gonna stay away from the 1700s today. Today I'm gonna stay with the modern era. All right, pal? Don't get upset. I know you love when I go to the 1700s, but those fighters I just described, one of the things that made them so great, where they never got stopped until maybe late in their career, of course, when they weren't the same fighters, but they never got stopped. They never got hit two clean punches in a row. Never! Bang! Moved their head. Bang! Moved their head. They never got hit the second one. That's what made them able to be so great. Anyway, Fondora, he is so confident now, and he can punch, and he's tall, and I already talked about his liabilities, that, he's there still standing up when you get close. But when he's throwing that jab at you, putting pressure, he don't stop. That jab is a problem. That jab is a pain in the you-know-what. I mean, it don't stop. I've said it before. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, it's like having ants at a picnic. You don't want ants at a picnic. They get all over everything. They don't go away. You can't get rid of them. That jab of Fondora. And then when he gets close, he's moving his hands, the uppercuts, the putting the punches together, up top, down below. That would be a hell of a fight. Him and Zayas. How do I pronounce it properly?
Yeah, Xander Zayas.
I really like Zayas. I liked him since I saw him when I first saw him a year ago, whatever it was. But that would be a hell of a fight. It would be a heck of a fight. He'd have to deal with constant pressure. And what Zayas does, he showed me the ability against Garcia. Again, another formative fight, another good fight, another fight that will make him better, not just add to the resume, not just look good on the record book. He had pressure coming all night. And Zayas, he's not a huge puncher. He puts punches together beautifully. You said it. He's well-rounded. He's defensively responsible. He's got good hand speed. Like I said, he's technically solid. He puts punches together. He's got great legs. For the most part, he likes to control the outside. He's a boxer. He's a purist. And you're coming at him like Garcia. Bang, bang, bang. Move to the side. Turn the guy. Bang, bang, bang. Turn the guy the other way. Get out. Get in. To do that, you got to be two things. You got to be in good shape, really good shape, and you got to be mentally stout, where that pressure, because they're going to bring pressure to break you down, doesn't break you down. He showed me the ability to do it every round. I was impressed. I thought he was going to start getting worn down by the pressure, of Garcia helped him a little bit by not going to the body. I'd say that if I was in the corner of Garcia, I would have been saying, hey, look, come in behind the jab. You're not using your jab, but go to the body. Go to the body. Start to take some air out of the tires of this kid, please. So he's going to have to deal with that, I think, as he moves forward, obviously. But he showed me the ability to handle pressure and continue with his, being true to his identity, being consistent with what got him to the dance, which is good legs, good hands, good movement, good intellect, keeping guys off balance. He was able to keep it up. The question will he be able to keep it up if it's Fondora with that kind of pressure? And if Fondora goes to the body a little bit, it'll be interesting. But that's the thing with a guy like Zayas. He's got to be able to keep that motor going all night long, because he's at the top level. He's not going to score a lot of knockouts. He's not that kind of banger. Although, hey, he puts them together where he could hurt a guy because he puts them together so beautifully. But he's a good looking fighter. And he looks like a good kid. He's the kind of kid it looks like that you want to cheer for. No bad habits. He just and he's got that great, talk about tradition, talk about history. He got the great Puerto Rican fan base behind him. We've had we always talk about the Mexican greats, but you've had so many great Puerto Rican fighters too. Amazing that little island. How many great champions came out of there, back in the day. And kind of reminds me a little bit about that little town in the Dominican Republic where so many great baseball players came from. There's certain areas that it's, I'd love to do a piece on that one day, where there's areas around the world that just seem to develop certain kinds of athletes or certain kind of people that consistently come from those areas that are great in whatever that is.
Yeah, and only 22 years of age. Again, the youngest world champion currently in boxing. Congratulations to Xander Zayas. And I'm with you, bud. The last thing I'll say here is he is so solid on all areas. For me, in my eye, and I'm not talking about consistency, I'm talking from a physical standpoint, I don't know if he's special in one. I do agree that he lacks some of that power, but I think he belongs with all of these guys, and he won't be out of place with any of these other champions. And it's going to make potentially for some great unification bouts. 154 pounds is really heating up. We just talked about Fondora a bunch. We have Mochazayev, we have Vergil Ortiz, and Boots Ennis is moving up to 154 pounds. That's going to be a really fun division to watch, and I'm excited to watch many more of Zayas moving forward.
I agree. That's you just mentioned the guys that needed to be mentioned. That's a stacked division. I would love, and there's so many fights waiting to be made at the top level for the fans to get their appetite satisfied with those kind of fights.